Hello, everyone. Welcome to part 4 of the series, wherein we are discussing about how to write about premier journals. And we have already started with discussing about what exactly are premier journals, why majorly in premier journals manuscript fail, what are the expectations of these journals, and we are covering the entire anatomy of an article, and section wise we are covering. We have already covered a well written title, how should we write a clear and concise abstract in this playlist. Today we are going to cover the compelling introduction, that how to write a compelling introduction, and one by one we'll be covering all, but today we'll be covering how to write a compelling introduction for a premier journal. Now, first of all, before we begin, let's understand what role does a good introduction plays in the manuscript. So, via title, we have tried to hook the reader towards an article. The second attempt is the abstract. The abstract catches or gives a brief insight about what exactly our article is about, like what is the purpose, why we are doing this research, what is the purpose, what methods we are using. Also, abstract highlights what are the findings, what are the originality and value that article is bringing in. So, title and abstract has already done the job, and the reader now here is at the introduction. Now, what role introduction plays in the manuscript? If the reader has come and if the reader is reading the introduction of your manuscript. So let's understand this, that first of all, it establishes the rationale that why the study is necessary and timely. So, especially, we have to present the case of the article, why we feel that the study deserves a publication. So, as we have discussed in our videos already, like we discuss about and we make our argument strong, we make the contribution very clear, we check the conduct, and we check the delivery of the article. So basically we have to present the case or defend our article, that why the study deserves an publication. Now, it also, we have to clarify, like what is so novel about your work. We all know that in every field, or in the fields, the continuous research keeps on going. If we are working on some keyword, you might find many articles, until unless it's not very novel, we will find the articles on Scopus and Web of Science database. But we have to defend what is new in our work, and why and how it's useful, its utility, what is the contribution of this, not only in the knowledge base but also in the practical base. So we have to clarify that. So we have to position our study conceptually, that how this study is contributing to theory, what are our constructs, what kind of relationships we are going to study in this entire research or article. And you often have seen some researchers just feel like they just give it a context like location. They replicate the completely same study in different location. Let's say if some study has already been done in United States, they will copy the exact title, everything, and they will do it for some other study like UK or Japan or China, right? So please note that the study should be conceptually strong. It should not be just a contextually different study. Sometimes the people do it like, let's say, it has already been done in a particular industry, for example banking industry, or for example uh, software industry. If the study has already been done, in particular industry, banking, people or researchers sometimes just differentiate it on the basis of industry. They just do it in a different industry and the topic and everything is same. So please note, it is not a very big contribution to the knowledge of to the body of knowledge. Okay, so we have to make sure that not only it is unique in terms of location or industry, but also conceptually the work should be robust. Additionally, we have to demonstrate the global relevance. Now here we are not saying that a particular work that is based on a particular country is not relevant. We may do that, but we have to, in the end, we have to uh, open the wings of the article in terms of future research directions, that how the study further helps at the global level and how relevant the study is at the global level. So the global relevance is very very important. Your study should have a scope of creating a ripple relevance, or the contribution should have the scope that further, if the study will be conducted at other levels, it will bring in, or it will more uh, it will add more value to the body of knowledge. So how we can do it, like how the perspectives can come up when we do it on international audience, or if we expand it to the global business, or at the organizational trends what's happening. So let's say if we do it at a particular country level, we may highlight how it is relevant at the global or the organizational trends level. So we have to make sure that it should be of global relevance. Sometimes we already always conduct a general study uh, on a particular topic happening across the globe. Let's say for example systematic literature review or bibliometric analysis. So what happens there, uh, we just do we analyze the scopus database or web of science database, the patterns, we do the science mapping. So we do different kinds of mapping over there, right? We do the network analysis. So it's at the global level, so the global relevance is there. Sometimes we also want to highlight a particular country. Let's say a particular topic is studied at a particular country level, then we have to throw some light on global relevance. Then comes the contextual evidence. Let's say if we are highlighting and focusing on a particular industry or a country data, then we have to use the contextual evidence only to support the broader conceptual arguments, right? So we may do that, but we have to support with the broader conceptual arguments and then build the argument and contribution on that. Now the second most important thing is nature of contribution. So the work which we should prefer is should be groundbreaking. It should be, it should bring in some radical contribution in the body of knowledge. Additionally, the incremental contribution, that it can be small but it should be meaningful. So sometimes it's like groundbreaking. So if you, let's say for example, if you are studying something in your field related to AI or machine learning or deep learning, now we may say that okay, this is something which is very new and groundbreaking because no one has studied related to this thing so far. Incremental means we may study the classical traditional models, but something very very meaningful is coming up, right? So we may do that as well. We may do the small things. It's not like that you always have to do very very big things in research. We may do it small, but it should be meaningful. So exactly, the contribution and the value plays a critical role in case of incremental contributions. So they are also acceptable. If you will read the good articles in your field, you will get an idea that it's not always that we just focus on groundbreaking ideas, but sometimes the small ideas with the big contributions with the big meanings also gets published in premier journals. Now, why the introduction is critical? Because the editor and reviewers, as we have indicated, that the title has hooked the editor and reviewer towards the abstract. Now they have read the abstract and now they are at introduction. So, of course, it will give them further a push that yes, the full article can be read. So, editors and reviewers base their early judgments by reading your introduction. Now, lack of clear novelty. We have to clearly build the base that what is the background, what is already covered, what is not covered, and what is so novel about your research or our research. So, lack of clear novelty often leads to rejection. Sometimes, even the methodology is very good. Please note, sometimes it happens that the methodology which you have adopted is very good, but if the novelty is not established well, then your article may get rejected. So we have to check either it should be groundbreaking or it should be very, very meaningful in the current scenario. Then comes the novelty, precedes the rigor. So we have to check how we can balance the novelty with the rigor. Okay, so rigor matters only after novelty is established. If your methodology, if your research rigor is very, very strong, but the novelty is not established, there are high chances that the paper will be rejected. Okay, so we have to balance both so that we can establish both novelty as well as research. We must also be focused on, it should be very sharp and very brief, because remember, and since the starting we are saying that we have a word limit on the title, that is between 5 to 10 words. We have a word limit on abstract, that is around 150 words. Now in the introduction also we should take the limit of the number of words. Okay, and in this way or across the article, because we know that in the journal we have to finish entire thing is in around 8,000 words including the references, right? So for doing that we have to establish and do that since the starting of our work. Now how we can do that? If we will remain focused and brief at every stage, then we will be able to not only save the reader's time, but also we will be able to convince them quickly and in the more impactful way. So we have to keep this thing in mind. Now, what is a strong introduction and what all things it should specify? So the first thing is theoretical underpinning. We have to check what are the contradictory findings, what are the existing theories, and how the relationship, the study, the variables which we are going to study are going to contribute. So how we can do the theoretical or how we can do the theoretical underpinning? We can highlight some theories on which the research is based and how the research is building on the theories. Additionally, we can highlight the contradictory findings or some underexplored relationships which our study is going to build on or our study is going to contribute to. So the first is theoretical gap. Why they matter? What is the necessary thing which your study is bringing in or building on? What is the important thing? What is the usefulness? What is so urgent about it? We are, and that's why we have just said that it should be relevant in the current times, especially in the areas, if you are in the areas like business, if you are in the area like medical, then we have to show how why it's so urgent, why we are writing this in that particular research article currently. So we have to do a particular signposting. Now the signposting, as we are discussing, so these are the two types of signposting. The first is theoretical gaps, that we have to provide a scholarly evidence and why they should be addressed, why addressing them is important in the current time when we are writing that research article. The second is practical gaps. We have to mention that why, what are the practical gaps, what are the problems that are existing, what is the problem the research is addressing, and how that problem or how your solution which you will provide at the end of your research is going to fill the gap. Okay, so this signposting is very, very important so that we build a strong base towards our research questions, towards our research objective, towards the research topic which we are telling here. So, the expected contributions to theory, what are the new understanding which will be derived after this, and the expected contribution to practice. Like, what are the real world issues which this research is going to solve, are the true critical thing which we have to write in the introduction. If any of these will be missing, there are high chances that the editor or reviewers are not going to take our manuscript further, and they may reject our manuscript. So please note these things and make them as a checkpoints so that we don't miss anything. Okay, so real world relevance is very important. Now let's quickly understand, and again just a summary of this, that we don't have to confuse between novelty and relevance. Both are equally important. First, we have to check how new our idea is and what are the methods which we are adopting. So, the methodology plays a critical role. If novelty will be missing, methodology will not be able to make the manuscript go forward. And if the methodology will not be good, no, like novelty alone will not work. So we have to see both the things. Then comes the global relevance and the local relevance. So we should focus on theory and concepts for international audience first, but sometimes we may focus on a specific industry or a niche audience, but there should be a scope. Okay, so we have to establish the scope so that the research should have uh, the ability to get replicated further at the global level, or to get benefited or to benefit at the global level. So these are the things which we should keep in mind, just to summarize. Additionally, how to justify the gap? We are talking about signposting, we are talking about theoretical and practical underpinnings. So now we have to specify the gap clearly. We have to justify its importance, and we have to state the outcomes, that how this research is going to help. We have already covered theoretical and practical gaps. We have to assure that they should be in the direction of research question, and it should be, the research should be theoretically and practically relevant. So these are a quick revise point that we have to understand this. Sometimes we feel as a researcher that, oh wow, my research topic is so novel, but why my topic got rejected? Let's note that we might have done something wrong in terms of methodology, or they should be aligned, right? Sometimes we feel like, my methodology is so strong, my topic is so novel, what went wrong? Let's make sure that it should contribute to to the body of knowledge in terms of theoretical and practical ways, everyone. So these are some critical points which we have just now covered, which we have to keep in mind as a researcher, to do not confuse with. Sometimes we actually put in a lot of very good methodology like structural equation modeling, or var model, or let's say bibliometric analysis, and still we feel like, there are so many articles that are being published nowadays in bibliometric analysis, but still my article is not published. Why? We have to understand this, and we have to make an habit of balancing novelty with rigor, the global contribution as well as, the local contribution, that is the conceptual contribution as well as the contextual contribution, and how we are balancing these things. So, researchers, let's note these points and let's note all these checkpoints when we are making our introduction ready. I hope these tips are of some use to you. They have helped me in publishing my few research papers, and I hope they'll help you. And if you have any ideas, any suggestions, any feedback, please feel free to share in the comment box. And additionally, if you have your own style or framework, please feel free to share. And if even this video is of 0.001% use in your manuscript, please do like and subscribe. Thank you so much.